Hi everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition. And today we are going to talk about whether we are supporting someone or trying to support or prevent something from happening to someone and to ourselves. So I actually this will probably be posted before I post this video, but I did a video on time and how we ramble through time and how we jump through time. And since time doesn't really exist, I'm going to use the word jump through, how we maneuver through our timelines, not in order. That might be a better way to say it. I don't know if I'll get that on Instagram. So if you're seeing this on Instagram and you want to catch that one, go to YouTube and catch that one, because I do think it was a pretty good one to expand our minds on how we maneuver through our timelines in a non-linear fashion. So, okay. That was my plug for that content. Okay. Are we supporting or are we trying to prevent? And this is a topic that's going to come up a lot during our ascension, because it's a very fine line. It's two sides to a coin, right? Whether we're trying to support a person or prevent their ascension process from happening. And how do we know when to stop supporting? How do we know when to pull back that support and let them go on with their journey? The hardest thing we do, whether it be in your human existence or after you've transcended that existence and left that behind and go through your ascended timelines, your ascended existence, meaning you just ascended your consciousness to higher consciousness realities and you're not playing in the human ones anymore. You've ascended your body, your consciousness, and then your body has to go with that. It's really important. I never want to leave that step out, because that's how you get the higher timelines. You have to have your body go with it. Your body has to pull up. That's why your consciousness is always higher than your body frequency, right? It's always going to be, but it does continue to pull your body up to higher frequencies where you can get to higher timelines, more ascended timelines. So think about, instead of thinking about time linearly, as the timelines we usually depict as linear, think about it as, you're going, it's vertical. You're going vertical. So, what's it, the XY axis? You're doing the X, you're not doing the Y. No Y, you're just the X. I hope I have that right. Do I have that backwards? I almost need to look that up and see. You know where I'm getting at if I have that backwards. It's been a long time since I've been graphing something. I think I have that right. Maybe I don't. It might be. Anyway, you're going up. You're not going left or right. You're going up or down. Okay. So relationships continue to be the most challenging thing we do. In our human consciousness, they're challenging because we are always trying to help ourselves and using other people to do that. And there's a higher consciousness reason for that. I mean, these people are there to assist us in moving along. They're assist us in clearing our programming. They're assist us in seeing our programming. We don't see that till our ascended timelines, how these people play different roles, but how they did help us along the way. And we don't see that till later, in a sense, because we don't have the consciousness and the ability to see it, right? But even in our human form, people are there to show us things. That's why they showed up. They're aspects of us. They're showing us different versions of us. That's why we transcend a different aspect of us. That person goes away and they'll just drop away. There's different ways we view relationships, but in our human consciousness, we're always trying to get something out of the relationship. We can say we're here to support someone. We're not. We're here to support them so they don't leave us, maybe, but we're not here for any other reason than that. That's our human consciousness. Just how it is. You have to look at it for what it is, and then understand that when it is talking to you, it's talking to you from the perspective of, it's about, we're doing this for us, and there's everybody else, but then there's us, and we're more concerned with us than everybody else, right? Now, in your ascended timelines, you get so whole within yourselves, you can then assist other people, right? You have the capacity to. In our human consciousness, we just don't have the capacity to. It's not to really, say the human consciousness is terrible. It is what it is. We signed up to be in that experience. But it is separated off. It is a selfish, it's our unconscious part of our soul. It's the selfish part of us. It is the part that's looking out for itself. It's not looking out for everybody else. And if we can see it as that and stop trying to paint it as something else, it's a lot easier for us to unify it in and know when it comes up, because we can feel when it comes up. And do the opposite of that for a while when we're going through our awakening and parts of our ascension, to go the opposite way, to start to clearing that, and not even clearing it because it's always going to be there, but not letting it dictate our choices, right? So if we can always just kind of generalize, human experience, we're in it for ourselves. Every relationship we're in it for ourselves. With the one, I'm going to put a caveat of children, because children do bring out other parts of us, and all our relationships bring out different parts of us, and they can bring out a very soft part of us. They can activate that stuff within us to bring it out ourselves, so we don't need that thing to activate it anymore. That's the whole crux of relationships, no matter it be with kids or animals or people or adults, it activates a feeling that we couldn't get to without them. Whether it be anger or whether it be love, we couldn't get to it unless they helped us unlock it, because it was inside. It's still inside, but we attach it to them. That's why when, these people start to leave, it's really hard for us because we've attached it to them. And even with kids, we'll attach things to them, attach our identity to them, whether it be for being a mother or whether it being, a grandmother or whatever. We attach an identity to them. So that's why in the human tropes, we put so much on our kids, because we attach so much to our kids, because they give us a purpose. They give us a different purpose, to kind of a protect purpose, that Papa Bear, Mama Bear kind of energy to make sure that their life is so much better than ours. So we get into that trying to prevent and trying to prevent anything from happening to them. And you can really see it. To me, that mirrors probably ascended relationships the most, even though they're still distorted in our human consciousness. We'll still distort them, but there is a more purity to that because of the children, right? And we do want to protect them. We don't want them to have to go through different things. So we try to shield them from things. And then when you get to your ascension, you start to having to look at, even children, they're still souls. And now if they're under a certain age, obviously we have a different, if they're over 18, we have a different, I hate to bring age in, but I'm going to do it just because there is a different kind of, you'll know there's a different way you have to treat children, and you have to teach them boundaries and teach them different things on how to do. You can't let their ego run amok, right? Even though as humans, our egos are all running amok. But we don't look at them as independents until they get to the point where they can be. Maybe that's what I want to say there. So there is a difference when the kids are very small, no matter where you are in your ascension, how you're going to treat them, than when you're older. And when you're older, you start to understand that when they get to a certain place where they are independent, then they are souls. And you kind of transcend that parenting thing. That they are adults now. They can make their own choices. I don't have to make them I don't try to prevent things from happening to them, because they have to let these things happen to them. They have to go on their path. They have to do what they're going to do. And once we've kind of clarified that, our human really can't support anything, we can't even support ourselves. And so we're really going to be shifting now to our ascended timelines. And how do we know, are we supporting someone, or am I trying to prevent their ascension process? Because for a lot of us, I don't know anyone that's come through it without it having to be a pretty abrupt awakening. That's how you get, you're not going to leave human realities behind if they're working for you. And that's why so many people still stay in them, because on some level, it still works for them, right? But once it stops working for you, then you look for other things. You're trying to figure out, why am I doing this? Why do I keep doing the same thing? It doesn't work for everybody forever. It can't. So, we start to kind of look in a different direction. We start to explore different avenues. But when you're in those human existences and they're still working, you have no reason to leave. And that's what will happen to so many people. When we are in our ascended timelines, people look to you as an ascended being. You might not be the purest of the pure yet. You might not be in your highest ascended timeline ever. You might, but you're higher than they are. You're in a different consciousness than they're in. And they know that, and they can feel that. And whether you've never said it, and it doesn't matter, you don't say it. It's your presence that speaks for you. They know it. And they might ask you, what do you think I should do here? And if you do, be able to say, well, if it was me, maybe I would do this, and they don't follow that advice. And they come back again and ask you the same thing. You might tell them again, and you will find a lot of patterns where you go through this, because a lot of times others are not ready. You're in their life to activate them. You're not in their life to pull them up the ascension hill, pull them through the ascended timelines. That is never our role, is to pull anyone anywhere. We can support in opening the door for them to walk through it, or throw them a rope for them to grab it and pull themselves up. We're never to pull anybody up with us, in a sense. Now, technically, by leaving those human timelines behind, those human collectives behind, and going somewhere else, going to different collectives, starting your own new world somewhere else, or your ascended timeline somewhere else, you've in a sense given them a rope and given them somewhere else to walk through. When you go through the door, where are they going to go? You're living by example, in a sense, and you don't have to sit there and try to beat them with that. And for a lot of us, that's what we try to do for a long period of time. You're trying to beat them with that. Come, you want to go this way. You don't want to stay here. You want to come here. You don't want to stay in human realities. They suck. But they're not ready yet. They're not ready to go. They're not ready to move through it yet. So then we get stuck in this, I'm going to say stuck, because that's how we're going to feel for a while. We're in this kind of role where, yes, I can support them. Their realities are collapsing. I'm going to support them. But at what point am I supporting them? The reality collapses, I support them. The reality collapses, I support them. And whether that's supporting them emotionally, whether that's supporting them informationally, whether that's supporting them financially, it doesn't matter. It's still energetic support, whether it's money, I'm going to use the word time, but it doesn't matter how you are. But you can feel like you're in that role. But are you also kind of trying to shield them like you'd shield a child for what's coming if they don't listen? Because what's coming if they don't listen, because it came for us when we didn't listen. And that's what's coming for them. You can see the glow of the train. And if they stay down that path, they keep going down the same roads, doing the same thing over and over and over again, they're going to get pushed into their awakening. They're going to go through something very human traumatic to push them into the next phase. We cannot prevent that for them. We're not allowed to. There's no coincidence that everyone that's, if you see people channeling, when they're really just channeling themselves, you can't channel anybody else but yourself. Higher versions of them, whether they're channeling galactic cancels or, some other, whether it's, some oversoul conscious, it doesn't matter. It's still, they're just channeling themselves, different aspects of them, higher aspects of them. They haven't achieved the frequency to hold that aspect, to become that aspect, to live from that aspect, to meld that aspect in with their other aspects. So they feel it's outside, right? That's all channeling is. It's outside of you for a while until you get your body up to the frequency where that aspect of you can embody it, right? But they all say the same thing. Oh, we can't interfere. You must go on your path on your own. Humankind must go through. We cannot interfere. It's all you can't interfere. You can look at it, it's all the same message. It's like listening to anything nowadays. It's all the same message all the time. It's the same message. It's like on repeat. It's the same message coming through because you can't interfere. We're not allowed to interfere with somebody else's journey. Everyone else has higher aspects too. They have higher ascension paths too. We're not the only ones that have those. Everyone has those, whether it's on now, whether their code's been turned on, whether it's their time to start through their ascension, whether they're going to wait, whether, they're kind of putting it off and, it's going to be a really hard awakening for them because they're not listening, because they can't see it, or you can see the whole picture because you have the conscious now to see the whole picture, but they can't, and then we even get to where we're going to give advice when no one's even asking us for it anymore because we can get so frustrated with it. Before they'd ask and then they don't want to do that and then they do something else, they end up right back and here we're just repeating it again and again and again because we're not really... We can't make the choices for them. You can't pull them. They have to go on their own. They have to have the free will to walk away from human realities and walk toward their ascension process. And until they're ready to do that, we can support for a while, but you're going to start to see where you're now just a crutch and you're now trying to prevent and shield them from what's coming. And we will all go through realities where we do that. And we'll feel it because you also can start to feel the resistance of the people. The people start to take you for granted. The people will the relationships. The other in that equation will start to, either maybe they don't talk to you as much anymore, and they only show up when stuff's really bad, when the realities are collapsing again. Now they're going to show up, and when things are good, they really don't want to talk to you about anything that's good going on. You start to see the imbalance in the relationship, and you start to pull farther apart because your frequency is rising, and theirs is staying. Theirs is not rising as high. They're still in a totally different dimension than you're in. You can definitely start to see that they don't really want you in their life anymore because you're now representing such a different frequency that to go with you, they have to make real changes and make real choices that they're not willing to make yet. So we will always be there when galactic family, soul family, when humanity starts to need assistance. But if they're not asking for it, or if they have asked for it repeatedly and we've assisted, but they still keep doing the same thing, we do understand that there's a point where it has to get cut off because we are now, from our ego, trying to control it. We're now trying to control their journey because we don't like how it's going to end for them and how that human timeline is going to end for them. We want them to be able to jump to a different one. We want them to make a different choice, for God's sake, make a different decision, and they're not ready to. But we weren't either till it got really bad. So when you see this happening, and you will be more witness to this as you continue to go through your process, really look at what are we doing? Am I trying to also prevent it from happening so they stay in my life longer? Because once they start going down this path, they're awakening, they're going to go off on their own for a while. Am I trying to prevent that all from happening? Because I don't like where that leaves me. And those are some things we have to be really pull it apart and see. Am I really selfless on this? Or do I still have there's a human reason I'm trying to support? Even in our ascended timelines, we're still clearing that programming. We don't want anyone to sit there and fall on their face. We want to assist. That's why, people that do the same thing I do, where they put out a lot of videos on this stuff. Because we don't want you to go through the way we did. We don't want you to have to go down the path we went down. Nobody wants that. We don't want you to lose everything. And nobody wants that. The unfortunate part is, for majority of people, that's what has to happen. Because you're not going to leave everything you know behind to go down a road you don't know what it is. Now on a soul level, but your human's like, are you sure you want to go down there? You don't even know what's down there. Can we stay over here? It's corrupt, but we know what it is. Well, why do you want to go down that way? How do we know it's going to be better? And especially when people can see you going through your different initiation processes to clearing relationship karma, abundance karma, and where you've been stripped down to nothing. They're like, why would I want to go do that? That looks terrible what you've been through. But it's part of the process for so many of us. But we look at it in a different way. And maybe not when we're going through it, but when we get to the other side of it, we can see the purpose of it and what it showed us and why we had to be there, why we had to lose everything, why we had to get over our attachment to everything. So when you look at how many different iterations you've had, how many timelines you've been through, how many realities you've tried to create that didn't work, and how many things you've done, you start to look at someone else and go, they've got to go through all this too. There's no shortcut. Yes, we put out information to assist people, but you still got to do it. You can't listen to a video about ascension and go, okay, well, I've done it. Woo! Thank God that's over. Let me move on to something else, live in my amazing realities. It doesn't work like that. Your body has to upgrade so much. Your body's vibration, it's critical. It has to go up. You can't do any of this if your body vibration doesn't go up. Not just your consciousness expanding, your body vibration increasing. So when you look at what they have to do, that will put it in frame for you on, am I going to stick? Am I supposed to stick around for that? Is that my role, or have I done my role? Have I activated the person enough? Can I now step back and let them go? Look at what they're doing. They're going to mirror back what you're supposed to do. Now, will there be a thing where people will try to kind of, like a moth to a flame, in a sense, kind of glam onto you? Sure, you'll have that experience too, where people will you'll see the imbalance in that, and where they only show up when they want something, and that is one type of thing you're going to see. And the other type of thing you're going to see is they are distancing themselves from you. You know, you don't hear from them as much anymore. They're not really asking you anymore because they know what you're going to say. And they're not ready to do that step. So you start to see that they're mirroring it for you. If they're stepping back, step back. You know, they're showing you what you're supposed to do. You know, if they are in the thing where they're trying to like just kind of get like cords of attachment in you, in a sense, to keep pulling you in, you'll feel that too, because it'll be draining, and you'll see that they only show up when they want something. When their life's great, you don't see them, but when it's crummy, here they are at your doorstep again, and you'll start to see, well, that's on me. That's on me to continue to let this happen. That's not about them anymore. It's definitely never about them, in a sense. It always will come back to us until we get to that place where we really can look at someone else and go, am I really going to be able to assist here? Or is it just we're going to go down the same rabbit hole again because they're just not ready to go? When they're ready, really, really ready, they'll show up. Whether they show up with you or they go to someone else for assistance at that point with ascension. They won't forget what you did and how you assisted them. It's just they're not ready yet. And for a majority, if you watch this and look for, you know, you never really get answers when you watch any of this, any of my stuff anyway. If you're waiting for an answer, I will say majority of time, for me anyway, I could say the answer was leave them alone. You activate them, you do what you can in that moment. You know when it's not balanced anymore. You know when it's almost getting disrespectful, where they're just showing up when they want something. And other than that, they don't really care what's going on with you. Doesn't matter to them. They just want you to be there when they need you. When things start to fall apart, because they keep going down the same loops that we went down. But eventually, people have to, you know, you start to step away. Because we did the same thing. We don't want to sit there and look, oh, they do that. We did the same thing. We would only show up with certain people when we wanted something. As soon as we got it, we'd go away. And then when we needed it again, we'd come back. We have to be able to see that's what we did. It's our patterns too. There's a reason they're also in you. They're going to mirror back the unconscious parts of you. So you can see it very clearly when you did the same thing. So, okay. We're going to leave it there. Keep practicing the art of intuition.